Okay, so that was a bit nuts. We're gonna take some comments, some questions. That was a lot of fun. A ton of people were waiting, which is super cool. Thank you so much. Here's a few of the topics we are going to explore. Right. This will come up. What would have happened if he didn't break his leg? Very, very, very typical human thing, right? We'd be like, well, what if it was different, right? The future, not only of this fight, what could have happened in this fight, but the future, like in the next months and years. I will tease this one before I give you the rest of the path. People will be talking, oh, is there a fourth fight? A lot of guys never come back from a broken in half leg. And they certainly, a lot of them never come back the same. And that's very possible. Some do. Anderson came back, but it was never the same, right? So the future, we're going to get into that. We'll talk about Sugar Shot. That was pretty cool. A lot, though. I'm sure we'll have a lot of questions and comments. Wonder Burns. I just thought that sounded cool. I'm just checking the comments quickly to make sure that, because every now and again I will be muted. People will tell me Wonder Burns. Woner Burns. Okay, well, spelled incorrectly. I could probably change that, but we're not gonna. You know what? Maybe we will. I don't know. And then, yes, we will do a Q&A. And of course, this is what we're talking about. What was this? Oh, that's left over from another day, but we can touch on that. All right. Why don't we open up, of course, with this? Yeah, it's a drag. That sucks, right? Like, I don't care if you hate Conor McGregor, and some of you do. Some of you do. Thanks for popping in, by the way. I just finished my job for Sports Center, which was really fun. I was wearing a suit. It's a nice suit. That was super fun. Went really well with my friend Aaron, and now we're gonna hang here. But yeah, I don't care if you don't like a guy, and you start getting into karma, being a mirror and stuff. That's a little harsh. These guys are complex. These are humans, right? And which is why, hey, what would have happened? And also, hey, should they fight again? These are humans. This is a human being who broke his leg in half. It's probably the bottom of the femur. I don't know. Immediately before that, as soon as he got up, he threw a kick. Now, maybe it wasn't the one, but it felt to me, and I know it wasn't shown in any replays. And in fact, I asked our guy at TSN if he had it. He said he looked at it, didn't look like much, but that's often the case, is immediately before the foot goes to step down and the thing breaks. Like Dustin said, hey, maybe he heard it earlier, maybe I checked it. The most common way this happens is the kick that lands immediately before the stepping is the one that does it. Please mark this, and you can cut this. Maybe I'm wrong, but I think there's a pretty good chance when we take a look at this over the weekend. I never got to see any replays of that because they were looking at the step. They didn't typically, as people ask about, my analysis videos, my breakdown videos, a lot of what happens is you must go back earlier and gain information for how this choke. Great, really cool. But what's way more interesting, at least to me, and that's why I like to share things the way I do, is how did that choke happen? What led to it? What led to that position? What led to that position, right? The kick, to me, McGregor got up, immediately threw a kick, and immediately went to punch. And that kick is a very good chance, even if it's a weird one, didn't look like much. Often the bottom of the bone catches the bottom of the bone on an angle. That's a crack. Now you got to throw your left or your right, whatever it was. Then you step back down, the thing goes. So I wasn't surprised when Poirier said it was probably injured early, because every fighter that was watching that knows that. And every coach that was watching that knows that. That's a very common thing, right? But it sucks. So I'm going to take a couple of scans here at some of the questions. Hey, Sensei Seth, what is happening? How are you going to be talking crap with a broken neck? Come on, man. You got to think about this. I know we're emotional when people that we dislike fight or we really like fight. That's a human in shock. Like, you know what shock is, right? Like, go do an interview with somebody after a car accident and ask them how they're doing. Of course, they're going to act bizarre, right? That's what shock is. I thought McGregor was acting again. You can't draw into any of these things because we don't know these people. We know simply what we see about them. Who had the best walkout song? I don't know. I didn't pay attention. Anybody put them in the quotes. We don't know these people. We know little tiny fragments that they intentionally show us. Very little of it reflects on who they actually are. I do know Conor a little bit. He's a really interesting guy, really complex guy. All of these people are. Every person commenting, every person mad or excited or happy or emotional or hating or loving, and all of you are complicated, and so is everybody we're talking about. This is the truth. This is the truth of the things. But so you got a human being, whether you love him or hate him, broke his ankle in half. His life has changed forever. If he comes back, it's changed. If he doesn't come back, obviously it's changed. How he relates to his family has changed. How he relates to his friends have changed. How he relates to his job, his purpose, how he defines himself. All of it's changed. Chris Weidman, by the way, this. I'm not big on, hey, I told you so. Look, I know shit. Like, that's stupid. It's egotistical. I don't even know why my brain went to that place for a second. I'm embarrassed that it did. But, and I'm not the only one who said this, but you're going to see a lot of leg breaks. For hundreds of years, why don't you see the low ankle and calf kick like crazy in Thailand? Why aren't they spamming each other with them? Because they're fucking dangerous. Somebody chatted with, I think it was my friend Aaron. I was chatting with Valentina Shevchenko, or somebody was, and they asked her about, it was a journalist. Somebody told me they had seen it online, and they were asking her about it. And she was like, I don't throw a lot of those. They're super dangerous for the kicker. They're super dangerous for the kicker. People in Thailand know this. Experienced fighters, people who've been around the game for decades know this. All of a sudden, from 2017 to 2021, MMA fighters are spamming each other with low kicks, acting like this is somehow new. This is not new. It's been around. People have been kicking each other's ankles, calves, and low legs for thousands of years. The reason it isn't done in as much in other striking sports is because of the danger. And as soon as Chris went, I said, and many others, you're going to see more of this. Of course you are. And whether he broke it stepping on a punch, it probably took damage hammering away at those kicks. You're going to see more and more of that. We've seen some broken arms recently. I hate to say this, even when I think it, I hate it, but we're going to see spine. We're going to see necks. Like, these people are bigger, stronger, more talented, more skillful, better at the job of hurting other human beings. They're going to get injured more, and it's scary. And so you feel for this guy. He's a person, right? So let's get into this for a moment. I'm definitely going to take some questions. When I go back, there'll be a lot of them. Please don't hesitate to wait 10 or 15 minutes and then hit me again with them when I go to scan for them. So what would have happened? My buddy Aaron and I were just on TSN, and it's fun, TV and sort of analysis in a setting for broadcast is really fun because you get to explore. It's shorter. Here we can talk and think and theorize and try different things with hundreds of people, sometimes thousands of people. And have a beverage after work and to get your thoughts out. But in that, you have to be very concise and you want to show different ideas. So Aaron, my buddy, who's very good. If you don't follow him, Aaron Bronstetter, follow him. And we're so different and we're good friends and we love working together. But he was like, Poirier was winning. He was a 10-8. 2 10-8 rounds. We know Conor sometimes fades, sometimes he gets better. All these things are shit we say. They're going a little out of style in deeper analysis now. There are people around in different Lex Friedman and Faraz and John Danaher and people trying to, really doing real analysis of reality, looking for truths, not just saying the stuff we say and extrapolating on what used to happen, which is very hype-based, right? This guy's an amazing jiu-jitsu player against the best karate guy in the world. He's got phenomenal. That's selling, right? There's nothing wrong with it, but it's not based in truth. It's not motivated by truth. So Aaron was doing some of that, which is the part of the job of the broadcaster. And I literally on the thing, I was like, you know what? I'm sorry. Like, with all due respect, this is nonsense. Only like a month ago, we saw a man named Michael Chandler dish out some fucking 10-8 rounds, almost finished right at the end of the round. And then like a minute into the next round, one hook from Charles Oliveira. He's the champion of the world. Happens week after week after week. And what is my point? We cannot predict the future. Now, we get biased. If you love McGregor, you'd be like, yeah, but man, when he get back to his feet, he was back in that first couple of minutes, maybe Dustin, like you start building a story around why McGregor would have won. And if you hate McGregor, you're like, oh, McGregor was going to get finished. But the truth is, we do not know. We cannot see the future. Never mind futures in parallel universes where injuries don't happen to people, right? So what would have happened? We never know, and that's okay. In fact, I love that about fighting. And it's also why over time I get further and further away from the idea that a prediction has any value, because it doesn't. Even if you said Charles Oliveira was going to win the fight with Michael Chandler, you had 1,000 pictures in your mind of what it could have looked like, and that wasn't one of them, right? If you said Dustin Poirier by TKO, this wasn't what you thought, right? You think you cannot see the future. So we're going to talk about Conor McGregor's future and Dustin Poirier's immediate future, but let's take a few questions. No. Not so. And that he didn't necessarily check it. Just because he said that doesn't mean so. It's possible. Very likely is and Chris Weidman never got his leg checked. They just collided bones. It was in the first minute. This is just, if you hate somebody, you'll build the story around it. If you love him, you'll build the story around it. He'll bounce that Burns head off the canvas on the fourth. Oh, the bum. Conor would benefit in a different camp. No. I mean, the dude is the richest fighter in human history. He's had 2 belts. What the fuck? Like, benefit how? Can't help but feel bad. Of course, he's a human. Even if you hate him, you should feel bad. That their whole life has changed forever. Maybe you hate him. You're like, good, that guy sucks. But that's a human, just like your dad or your friend or your neighbor. That's a person, right? I'm sitting in a hospital right now with his leg being tractioned into a thing. He wants to go to an after party, but, this is not what he wanted to do. He may not go. You did great tonight, Robin. Oh, thanks. Oh, Crazy Plan 9 must have seen TSN, where I go on to SportsCenter after. Thank you for wisdom. People say really nice stuff lately. People used to say such mean things on my feed, and now they say such nice things. Were you surprised by Conor's guillotine attempt? That's a great question. That wasn't in my banners. Let's add that. Create a banner. Guillotine. I hope I didn't spell it wrong. Thanks for hanging with me, by the way. This is such a pleasure. Were you surprised by Conor's guillotine attempts? So I didn't see after. I was sitting here in my studio to do SportsCenter in Canada. But somebody from work said that who was it? Sorry, Max and Teddy. Max Kellerman, I guess. I don't know who Teddy is. They said that Conor went for the guillotine out of desperation because he knew he couldn't win. That's a TV thing to say. But actually, if he did that, there's a very good chance. And I know these people. I know how they think. And I know how they train. And I know what the actual motives are. No disrespect to these guys. But they came from boxing and basketball. And their job is to provoke. Their job isn't to look for truth. And that's no disrespect. It's a different job. But when you would decide, I'm going to attack the guillotine, Tony Ferguson used to do this sort of thing a lot. When you're doing something like that against somebody that he believes he's better than you on the ground, part of the reason of doing that is you're sending him the signal, I'm not afraid to go to the ground with you. By the way, I'm going to be attacking. It changes his perspective of the fight. It would be a very conscious thing going in. I might try to instigate a takedown, or I'm going to try to attack with his favorite tool. Like, it's a cocky thing, and it failed. It failed in the round. He took damage. If he didn't break his leg, that damage could have affected him. He could have lost directly as a result of trying that. And it's a deep guillotine with the high elbow, right? That's old Marcelo Garcia. A lot of different ways you use the guillotine. Arm in, arm out and stuff. The high elbow, they have different ways to grab it. I don't know how Marcelo grabs it. I think just like this. And guillotine, no. Oh, yeah, like this. And then up. And this elbow comes and tucks in over your back. So the choke is there, and then the elbow is tucked, and it squeezes you into it. That guillotine and 2, 3, 4 other strategies were there consciously, most likely. I don't know. I can't read their minds. But knowing how they think, how they like to strategize, that's there to make a statement saying, I'm not afraid to go to the ground with you. I might try to take you down. I'm going to kick your legs. I'm going to grapple with you. I'm going to wrestle with you. And that will change the perspective of the story the opponent has. This is part of how people strategize. He could have also just been like, oh my God, I need to choke him. But, Poirier did that against Khabib. it's most likely was discussed as, we will go to the ground with this guy. That'll show him I'm not afraid. I'll hurt him from my guard. Turned out Poirier was even better on top than they expected, if that was so, right? So very common that you make a strategy like that to make a statement to them that changes the narrative of what they believe about how you're going to fight this fight. It's sort of a rewriting of the parameters of the fight. But that's the best question so far, Ryan. Thank you. Oh, yeah, we were talking about Sensei Seth, and I hope he's still here, but I don't know. A lot of other nice people. How's he going to be talking shit? Yeah, when he's got a broken leg. I mean, it's going to be because he's in shock, and maybe he's a dick. I don't know. DC stepped up for Conor against Max. So some guys say Ryan Hall fight proves sport jiu-jitsu doesn't work in an actual fight. Thoughts? Well, some guy is probably not the best person to be discussing this, but I think he was 10-0 or 11-0. Not sure. Now he's 10-1. Does this one prove that, and then the other 10 we have to pretend they didn't exist? You know what I mean? There's just logic. There's a certain amount of logic, and so that's why you don't want to debate things. Some people are very good at debating. Just the skill of debating, but actually don't know anything. And they can win a debate where people will be like, TKO that guy, even though they don't know anything. That's a weird function of modern stuff. How much sand is left in the hourglass? I don't know if it's an actual hourglass. I haven't timed it. Makes sense, right? But then it would be off topic. What's your thoughts on somebody's pondering of a difficult career dream? We're going to readdress that, but I like it. You know, of course, things are difficult. Can you go on Joe Rogan's podcast? Joe's my friend. We text sometimes, and I've been on his podcast 3 times. I don't know if you might have to get Spotify to see them, but I've done it. And it's a pleasure. Joe's a good friend. And he's a wonderful guy. If Conor comes back, will he need to return to a boxing base? If Conor comes back, it will be you're going to be dealing with a broken in half leg, right? Let's go back to some of our topics. We'll get, Wonder Boy. Oh yeah, let's talk about Sugar Sean, actually. A lot of people don't like that guy. I don't know why. Sometimes confidence actually really seems to turn a lot of people off. Not sure why. They see it as arrogance or whatever, but the idea that someone, I don't know why Siri is turning on here. Turn off Siri. The idea that somebody decides I can take control of my life and I think I can become big or successful or whatever, sometimes that turns people off, but there's nothing wrong with that. You know, there's nothing inherently wrong with it. You can also admire it, which is why you get to this point where, like, a lot of people love a Conor McGregor, a lot of people hate him. A lot of people love a Sugar Sean, different level in his career. A lot of people hate him. It's the same thing. We see the same thing. You look and you go, this guy's confident, believes in himself, he's driven, he wants it. You know, he unashamedly chases something publicly. He's not afraid to put himself in a situation where he can be made fun of or fail. And that, we see the same thing, and some of us see that as a bad thing, and some of us see that as a good thing, because we're different. We're all different. There's nothing wrong with that, right? He looked amazing, though. The guy that he fought, the young man that he fought, I commentated a few of his fights in Hartford, I think, and in somewhere else in Connecticut, I believe. Obviously a tough dude, obviously a very, very tough guy. And you see it. So let's say you're fighting anyone. And the idea, you're fighting Wonder Boy, you're fighting Sugar Sean, you're fighting Holly Holm, and you feel pressure is the key. You got to move forward. Every time you get hit, the punch is trying to teach your brain. When you're a kid and you go and you touch a hot element, you touch it once. And then your brain tells you, don't do that. It fucking hurts. Fighting's the same. As I move forward towards you, if you're hitting me, you are teaching my brain to hesitate, to stop, to be nervous, to like not fully commit. You're teaching it through punch after punch, 220, 30 punches, kicks, strikes. And that guy never learned. You could say that it's dumb, but more likely it's will, right? More like it's intensity of will. So a lot of credit will go to that kid. Let's talk about Herb Dean for a second. This, people will have this as a question, I'm sure, maybe. Not tough. I don't know where. give him his props for being so tough. Yeah, of course, man. You gotta like look at that and really admire it. You know how hard he hit, and this guy just keeps coming. That's really impressive. It's very inspiring. But this kid is talented. He's very, very talented. He is. He's able to flow and move and strike and hit. It was cool. Oh yeah, Herb Dean. So people are like, why did Herb Dean stop it? I'll tell you why Herb Dean stopped it. Because you have to put yourself in Herb's shoes. Very difficult to do because you have to know what Herb knows. You have to know what Herb's imperatives are. You have to know what Herb's ideas, parameters, rules, structures, things that motivate Herb as an informed, intelligent referee. And among them is to protect this person. This guy's probably not going to win this fight. How much damage is he taking? Now, you could say earlier, oh, he took 200 punches. Great. Herb was slightly back here, not out of position because there's a lot of, they're moving. And Sean hit him with an uppercut. His head snaps back. And I heard it. He yells, I need to see you defend yourself. I need to see you defending yourself. And as Herb's moving, they're moving. So you're not in a bad position. This is constantly moving as you are. He hits him. Herb can't see his eyes, and it doesn't really matter. And Sean hears that too, by the way. I need to see you defend yourself. And Sean throws fucking 8, 6, 5, 3, 8, whatever it is. A lot more shots, hits him. And by the time Herb comes around here, the guy has been feasted on up close with power shots after seeing one that in Herb's mind is different than the others. We believe it's neurologically compromising, and it's potentially going to take away his consciousness. And now I say, I need to see you defend yourself because Herb is now defaulted to, I may have to stop this fight now. It's defend yourself. He's not defending himself. Okay, that's it. It's his process. What we see from the audience is literally irrelevant. It's cool because we're people too. We get to see things and we get to speak about it. And we get to express our perceptions and we get to decide, say whatever we want. That's a cool thing about a free society. But it doesn't matter. What matters is Herb's perspective and Herb's process, which is ruled and dictated by what Herb knows from his lifetime of experience. And in those moments, the uppercut smacks the head back of a guy who's taken 200 odd punches and isn't going to win the fight. And I'm like, I think he's going to go out and I can't let him just take damage for no reason. Defend yourself. He doesn't. He gets hit. By the time Herb gets in a position, there's no time to be. Also, by the way, and it was Jason Herzog, and Jason's not only a dear friend, but he's a great ref. He's a great ref. He wasn't in the position he was in. He couldn't see, and we saw it in slow motion, that Ryan took 5 punches he didn't need to take. He got the one that clipped him here. He is out. And then, his opponent hits him. There's 4 or 5. Now, they were in 2 seconds. Jason's a great referee, doing the best he can as a human in that moment from the position he's in with this arm trapped. So he can't see it perfectly. He's just a human being a human. And I know both these guys. Jason goes back and watches it. What could I have done better? How did I do this? What did I use? How did I use my knowledge and my experience and the structures that are there? And he'll watch it and he'll look and he'll literally be like, how could I have seen this better so I didn't have to have that happen? And the answer was maybe there isn't a way. He was in a great spot, doing the best work he can. This shit happens fast, changes in 2 seconds. And from our couch, we watch 4 replays in slow motion. And we're like, this guy sucks. It's not logical, right? But we're not logical. We're people. People are weird. We're all weird. Okay, we're going to try to take some questions, but we got a lot, which is very kind. Conor, please, seems to open to the right from Dustin. No, see... you get the counter to the deep left is among them as a pull right hook. So you're gonna, over time, you study Conor, you're gonna try that. He did land it, but in the first fight, if you go back, he landed it once, and then Conor was countering that. So it's just the game, right? And I know it's hard. We ask these, and I like the way you put that, zombie brainification. Is it something to think? And that's a good question. A lot of people are like, oh, this guy sucks because of this. It's like, you're like, hey, I see this thing. What does it mean? And that's excellent. It's an excellent sort of way to look at things and gain more knowledge. Okay, so we've got a few questions. Please bear with me. We're going to see what we can get. Yeah, so yeah, we talked about that. I'm glad we got to it. Is it something? Yeah, we did that crazy. I like Sugar Gibbons props. Sorry. It was acting since 11, but I've been growing with the excuse of enjoying a more simple life without the stress. Hey, listen, so ADM was asking about, I have a cool job and I get to do cool stuff and people ask me about it often. You just need to match the goals that you have with the amount of work you want to put out and the risks you want to take. It's very simple. Some people are like, I want to be like the NBA champion. Okay, well, then you're going to have to, put 30 hours a week, 40 hours a week, 50 hours a week into training at that from the time you're a child. And you're going to have to give up dating and hobbies and anything else. And, you don't want to do that? Okay, fuck it. Those two things have to match, right? So you're like, I want to be an MMA analyst. I want to fight in the UFC. I want to be an actor. That requires this. Do you want to do that? Let me tell you quickly. I have a relative, and he was a very, very high-end goalie that maybe could have been drafted by the NHL if the next few years of his college career went a certain way. That would include him having to give up most everything to continue to do that, including dating, learn other things, other fun things. And he was only committing to that with the hope that maybe it would work, and literally intelligently analyzed it and said, no, I don't think that the sacrifice will give me a good enough chance to do it. So I'm not doing it. Very smart, very mature. And some people are like, Chris is the Green Zombie, new nickname. Yeah, that would be cool. You're doing your music career. Did you ever tour or meet the Evaporators? I don't know if I met the Evaporators, but we were around the same time. And I did tour a lot. Conor's not tough no more. Hey, man. I mean, we all have opinions about stuff, but it's not so true. The guy broke his leg in half and sat there going, I broke it. And then trying to make sure that everyone knew it was a doctor's stoppage. It's pretty tough. Curious, any chance you can be involved with Morning Combat? Well, I know those guys and their friend. Oh, actually, I only know Luke. And Luke is a friend. We had a little conflict at one time. That was my bad. Because, I'm just a person. Sometimes you do stupid shit and offend your friends. But I don't know. Maybe they'd want me to be a guest. But yeah, I guest on stuff all the time, every week. Some small, some big. What was your favorite fight of the night? Actually, I think, honestly, the Sugar Sean fight. And I know there's different levels of guys involved, but I really like watching that kid fight. Win or lose, he's an interesting one. He's young and he's a little different, different. I like different. Kid had the right game plan, but didn't have the skill set. Keep your sugar moving backwards. Yeah. You got to have the toughness to keep doing that. And he had it. But the game plan isn't something so simple like I'll push forward or I'll check kicks or I'm going to take the guy down. Those are goals, but they're not really game plans, but they're default thinking, and push forward is a good one. Herb Dean stopped the fight with Sakai with 1 second left. Yeah, I mean, he's not supposed to be looking at the clock. He's supposed to deal with the moment of truth. How do you think the rest of the fight would have gone with Dustin and Conor? We discussed that. Let's go back to some of my discussions. I'll come back here. We discussed that. What would have happened? And the answer is no one knows, right? Of course, we'd say, oh, well, historically, this guy did this and this guy did this. But, Conor did the whole distance with Nate Diaz the second time. Conor was behaving differently, thinking differently. Dustin was thinking differently. So you really don't know. But even, it was a 10-9 and 2 10-8s with Dustin on top of him. And Conor got up at the end. Like a month ago, it was exactly the same. It was Michael Chandler to beat the shit out of Charles Oliveira, 10-8s. And then Charles got up and landed one punch, and that was the end, right? So we just don't know, and we'll never know. Never know. But it's a good question. Well, you're welcome, my friend. What do you think's the best? Who do you think is the best ever MMA fighter? I have no idea. I just don't know. And it depends. George St. Pierre will give you a really good answer. He's like, there's no such thing. Because if somebody will have somebody else's number. You could be the best and beat 99 out of 100, but that one guy will beat you and he'd lose to 12 of those other guys. And that's the truth. And also, it's very difficult because we all would want to define it differently. Who had the most skills? Whose record was the best? Who beat who? So we all define it differently. Ty Tuvesa. Pretty positive guy. Something about that other guy I don't like. And it's not just because he was arrested for beating up his partner and throwing her on a literally a bed full of guns, which was how it was described in the police report, and all that kind of stuff. But there's something about him, and it's not personal. I'm just a person, like anybody else, and certain things bother you or unnerve you, or you admire in certain people, you dislike in others. Something about him, and I'm just being honest, I don't really like the other cat, so I kind of tend to cheer against him, and I don't do that a hell of a lot. But to us, so that was a crazy minute, though, and good for him. Both of them. Greg Hardy, that was his name. For a second, I'd forgotten it, and I wasn't trying to be disrespectful. But those two guys had a cool minute. They did, That was that question. Is Irene a legitimate contender for Amanda? I don't think so, but she could win. Amanda's going to lose again. She lost a lot before in her life. I think Conor's break could have started with a tough check earlier. I think the kick he threw 6, 7, 8, 9 seconds before when he got right up, I think that's the one. But that's just from experience. I've seen, now 20 breaks like this, and I've seen ones where the kick happens and then shortly after it breaks. You don't see it too often, a minute later and you've been on the ground the whole time and he was pushing off to the hips and stuff. The most likely scenario, he gets up and he throws a kick, lands it low, then immediately after it breaks. And I could easily be wrong, but it's a very common sequence that you see. Hi, Robin. Do you think this is the end for McGregor? And that was definitely one of our discussions. It very well could be. And listen, I hope not. That's a guy with goals and dreams that, when you change them, it's difficult. And I know him, and I know people close to him. And John Kavanaugh's a friend. And, these are good people. They really are. Don't judge by behavior you see 20 minutes in total in a year, because humans are different all the times you don't see. But it's difficult for people who are really driven, like drugs and alcohol and gambling and all these things, food, they'll sneak in on you if you don't have purpose, and you break your leg in half and people give you painkillers. And there's a lot of scary things in the future for that. And you just don't want that for anybody, The closest to a perfect fighter, I'd say, was Anderson and GSP. Yeah, but that won't be true in 5 years, because they'll have been very rudimentary even 5 years from now, because the game changes so dramatically. Animals rock. Yeah, there was a darkness to the whole thing. Yeah, there was. Don't let it depress you, because life there's a lot of good stuff going on, and I'm sure there's a lot of cool shit happening, and there'll be great other entertaining things, and life is great. You can't let it get to you, and that goes for your soccer team and your football team, and the person you're cheering to win the Grammy. This shit shouldn't. But we get connected to things. It's what a fan is. The word fan comes from the word fanatic, right? It's a beautiful thing to be fanatical about something. Cashing in on their talent being tonight's pay-per-view. So I really like Teddy Atlas, but I never saw any of him. So when I first ordered the thing, and I ordered for work, and actually work pays for it, which is pretty cool. The young me, never mind getting paid. So right after fights, I go on to Sports Center in Canada, and I get to write off my pay-per-view. So I get free pay-per-view, and then I get to get paid to work, which is amazing. To just fucking talk about fights. I'm so thankful. But when I first order it, and this happens, I don't know if anyone else has this problem with Fight Pass, but you order it, and then it keeps putting you in the loop to order it, and then it says you've already ordered it, and then you can't open it. And this happened for minutes. So I missed the beginning where they had them, and I don't see the pre and post shows. And no offense, I'm not trying to be rude, but they're pretty shitty. And that's somebody who's been in the TV business for a long time too. So, and I have an interest in all these things. I just think those are shitty shows. I just really don't like them. And they're getting worse. So I didn't see those guys. Personally, I really like Teddy Atlas. At times I've enjoyed Kellerman. Not such a Stephen A. Smith fan, because his job is different than what I enjoy. His job is to get us wound up. And I think Max has kind of moved into that too, from what I understand. But we don't get ESPN a lot up here. So, but yeah, it's not for me. So let's talk about this for a second. You're sitting here at 1:40 a.m. with Robin Black on YouTube. You're a deep consumer, right? Like you're not a surface level consumer. Surface level consumers, I'm sure, love these people, but we're the fucking deep cut. We are martial arts fans. Like we are fans of the we're the real fucking thing, right? You're sitting here, like I said, it's fucking 1:45 in the morning, on my channel. So you don't like that either. You don't like them talking down to you. You don't like them putting fucking these people on there to mainstreaming this. And when you were coming up, you enjoyed how edgy and outsider it was. And you don't like this, right? Neither do I, right? So, but that's okay. I love Joe and I love Anik, What are you sipping on? You won't chug the rest of it. It'll give me gas, but I could. I have another one, but no, it's very large. Dustin 316, I just snapped your leg. I don't get the reference. 316, I know is a Steve Austin thing. Fucking Siri, why are you opening? Conor comes back in 2 years. We'll make the whole roster eat their words. That would be a really neat thing to see. But man, it's going to be tough. Did Poirier show kids how to handle a bully tonight with the post-match talk? I don't know. We're all different, right? Anderson came back and had a great career. Did he though? Did he? And I don't mean that he's one of the greatest ever, but let's take a look at Anderson. And again, like with all absolute due respect, after he broke his leg, Anderson Silva. So after he broke his leg to Chris Weidman, Anderson Silva lost to Bisping, lost to Cormier. Of course, they're brilliant. Beat Derek Brunson, lost to Izzy, lost to Cannonier, lost to Uriah Hall. So he won one of his 6 fights after that. Now, that doesn't mean it's because of the leg. He was also getting older, but it didn't help, right? Anderson Silva won 1 out of 6 after he broke his leg. Now, I mean, he still inspired us. It was still a wonderful thing to see, but he was not Anderson Silva ever again, right? And you don't have to LOL. That's rude, man. I mean, you could be mad at him, and that's part of what being a fan is, right? Like being able to be passionate about it, but that's a human being. Sad to see Robin being so biased every time Conor fights. No logic. Really? I think everything I've said is pretty logical. Pretty honest, right? 2 human beings go in there, fight their hearts out. Guy breaks his leg in half. He's a human being. The other guy wins. The other guy won last time, won this time. Seemed to make sense. Did a nice, he's the good guy and did that well. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what kind of logic you don't have, but whatever. See, this is a very tricky thing, because when you start getting into what is and isn't logical, it's through your range of what logical is, right? So we all see it different, but true logic should be fair. But whatever. I mean, I'm a big Dustin Poirier fan too, but whatever. That's an interesting one. He's a myth now. Who? Anderson? That's not true. Anderson is not a myth now. Some people would say that, but they'd be wrong. They'd just be saying stuff. Conor was winning until he went for the guillotine. Yes. So going for the guillotine, 2 very logical possibilities. One is you panicked and you need to win, but that seems a little strange. Another is I'm not going to be afraid to attack wrestling, grappling, submissions, because that'll put a message into his head. Very common thing, but it failed. So that's great in theory. Imagine this, right? Like theoretically, you're like, I'm going to do X, Y, and Z to show my confidence and my lack of fear of fighting you in these arenas. Great. Let's do it. So you do it, and then you get beat up there, right? I mean, you can do it for that reason. You can have a strategy of, I'll go to the ground and show him I'm not afraid of it. And you did that. And then you got shit beat out of you on the ground, right? So just because you have a purpose doesn't mean it will work, right? This is true. How was coverage on TSN? So a lot of buzz on Sports Center. I believe, yeah, it seemed to be. Yeah, everybody was watching it, that's for sure. Everybody was watching it in the control room and stuff. That is for sure. Okay, what else can we talk about here? Oh yeah, so this was and I was gonna rewrite that. Let's do this, and I'll rewrite it. Wonder burns. There we go. I thought that was funny when I wrote it, but now in retrospect, Wonder Burns is not as impressive as it felt like. So that was a really cool fight. So Henry Hooft is in Gilbert's corner, and I think they gave Wonder Boy round 2 because all the cards had 29-28, which means Wonder Boy won a round, and most likely it was number 2. And after 2, Henry was given Gilbert a little shit because he's a really great coach and he knows his guys. So sometimes we'll see this. So let's go on a little coaching discussion while we're at it. Sometimes we'll see a coach act a certain way, and you'll think that's representative of how the coach is. But the good coaches, it's representative of what they understand the other person needs and the relationship that the two of them have built. So if you got a guy who really responds well to you giving him shit, you give shit. If you got a guy who really responds well to like positive reinforcement, that's what we're going to do. Sometimes you need to shake somebody. Excuse me. Somebody said you should chug this. And it's like, see, I already got gas and I'm just sipping it. I've seen Greg Jackson with Cup Swanson. He was like, had a broken hand. And Greg's like, just think how good the story's going to be. What a fucking great, what a great, now you've just changed the whole thing. It's not about your hand. It's about you. Later, we're going to look at you heroically. Okay, I can be a hero because he can, right? So he gave Gilbert Burns a bit of shit for round 2. And then he came out in round 3 and he fucking looked good. That's not easy, man. Gilbert isn't going to get as much credit naturally as you actually deserve. It's so easy to write these stories and to create these stories. It's like, oh, well, you've solved the puzzle of Wonder Boy. Listen, getting in on him is very, very difficult. And he got in on him. I want to feel so bad for Conor, but I can't because I know that if Dustin broke his leg, Conor would act just like he just won the World Cup. I don't know that for sure, but maybe, yeah. I think this is marijuana, which is legal here, but that would put me to sleep. Stephen A. Smith does not have credibility with MMA fans. And the fact that we're talking about it is of benefit to them, right? To the show. So that is the more we talk about it, the more we debate it, and the more we get emotional and wound up about it, the more they're going to do it. So I think we just have it now. What else we got? Conor's a myth. Oh no! And then somebody said, "If Conor's a myth, you're nothing." It's like you guys don't need to get mad at each other. It's cool to be being like wound up about fighting and sports and music and whatever is cool. But you don't have to get mad at each other. He puffed his chest about beating a guy with a freak accident. I don't know what. See, you don't have to get it all wound up. It's okay though. It's okay to get emotional about stuff you love. I don't know. Poirier seems like a pretty good dude. A lot of people debating with each other. Where does your love of connecting fighting war to life come from? Absolutely admire. Thank you very much. So that's a really interesting question. But if you study anything deeply enough, you will see it in all things. And in fact, somebody asked about going on Rogan's podcast. The first time I went on there, Joe brought up the Book of Five Rings, which I hadn't read in many years. He brought it up and he referenced to know the way broadly is to see it in all things, which is a line from the Book of Five Rings. I never thought much about it, although it stayed in my head and I'd heard the line many times and I've heard it 100 times since. But yeah, now that's started to become true. Like the things you see in the path of trying to become a successful fighter or trying and failing and learning or adapting or changing, how your emotion affects you, how strategy affects you, passion, all these things, they do relate to life. They relate to everything, right? But that's a very common thing. A very big compliment, I should say. People can weigh in on that. But I mean, he's not Conor ain't fighting for a year, so he'd probably fight for that title, and he could win. Wouldn't that be a great story? You know, the fight that kind of undoes. Too bad. The one thing he's not going to get probably is a rematch with Khabib, because other than that, if he could beat Oliveira, which he can, doesn't mean he will. Oliveira can beat him. The story of losing to Conor, and then the path, and then fighting for the title, and then coming up short, and then going back and avenging it twice, and then you know, if you win the title, like fighting Khabib, this would be almost the perfect story. But Khabib will not be back, I don't think. Kurt Angle won a gold medal with a broken neck, a broken ankle. Yeah, well, you got to stand on it, right? Standing on it's the problem. What are you drinking? This is a Canadian very light lager, very tasty. I have two of them. And yeah, very busy week, and I got a busy day tomorrow. I don't know if anyone's seen Karate Combat. Episode 2 was this week. Tomorrow on karate.com and Karate Combat YouTube, they will show episode 2 again. I will do a breakdown of the best fight from each episode, so I got to do that tomorrow. Not got to, I love doing it, but I will build a breakdown of that tomorrow, and then I'll build a breakdown of a Bellator fight tomorrow for next week. Next week is Bellator. I'm going to try to get my Bellator live streams with my buddy Mallory going again, but it's been tough to kind of nail that down. But maybe me and Mal could just hang out anyways, and with a couple other buddies. We'll see. I'll keep you guys posted. Sorry, I'm trying to open this one. Is there a question that maybe Conor isn't a top elite fighter at lightweight as he is at featherweight? One win against the easily hit. Come on, Eddie, man. You can't diminish. No. I mean, Diaz was 170, you know? I get it. We want to craft narratives. It makes sense. That's a human nature. The guy's incredibly rare and talented. He had a special year or 2 years. It's going to be tricky. This could be the end for sure. And certainly he's now years away from ever being like this guy who beat Aldo and beat Eddie, whatever that looks like in 2023. He's so far from that with the leg broken in half that we may never see it again. And that's no disrespect, and that's no, you know, that I don't believe. It's just we'll take a rare and special person for Chris Weidman to come back, for Conor McGregor to come back. Anderson did it, but he won one of his last 6 after that. It's rare. This is the best thing to happen to Conor because he gets to sit out and recover while Dustin and Charles. No, man. I know what you're saying. It makes sense. But you don't sit and recover. Your leg broke in half. Your body starts to atrophy. You can't train. Your sharpness, your conditioning, it isn't to rest. It's recovery. It's recuperation. It's healing. He may never physically be the same again because he can't run. He can't kick. Can't lift. You know, he'll do a bench press with a broken leg, but he can't be an athlete for a year. Maybe never again. And again, I hope for him and his family and the people who love him that he can, but very rarely will anyone ever come back from this in the way where they will be the, you know, rare and special again. DC would never acknowledge that and weave a narrative that Conor broke his leg because of kicks that were checked. Dustin introduced that idea. So I was on the phone after people were talking, he broke his leg down. And I said, he definitely cracked it, fractured it, hurt it on a kick. I was saying this during the show. And most likely the one right when he got up, he threw a kick. And it won't look like much, but it doesn't have to look like much. And he threw a kick immediately and then stepped back. That's probably the one. Dustin, you know, just said what he said, but, you know, and he gets to say whatever he wants, but that doesn't make it so. But anyone watching that is a fighter, has been in the fight game for a long time, is a coach, you know, has marinated in this world for decades, knew immediately that leg didn't break from a step. That leg broke from contacting a bone, most likely, and then later finished the fracture or exacerbated the fracture. Yeah, it's not just inactivity; it's you regress physically, right? Sugar Sean, probably you're talking about. Yeah, I get it. Little Buddha is an alcoholic beverage created by Nick Kiprios' wife. No, I haven't. Okay, Donnie Brasco, thank you for clarifying that. I've not tried that, but I would be willing to sample it. Nick Kiprios' wife, Mrs. Kiprios. Diaz is a natural 155er. No, he is not. No, he ain't. When he was young, he made 155, but he is a 200-pound man, 210-pound man. Yeah, Nick Diaz is a big dude, man. I've been around him. I weigh 170 pounds right now. I don't look like much, and I'm 5'6". Like Nick Diaz is a 210-pound man right now, maybe 220. He is a natural welterweight who overdid it to make 155 pounds after he fought Rory McDonald in Toronto at the Sky Dome, and Rory fucking threw him all over the place, and he was like, fuck all that. But then later you realize, and so off tangent, I did a piece with Rory, Chuck Liddell, and Forrest Griffin once. If you Google Robin Black, Forrest Griffin, Chuck Liddell, or put it in YouTube, poutine, most of you don't know how to spell poutine, and some of you don't know what it is. It's a Canadian delicacy. I made poutine with Chuck Liddell, Forrest Griffin, and Rory McDonald. Forrest and Chuck are 205ers. And when we were making it, Rory was there, and they turned to me and they go, this guy's a fucking welterweight? He's bigger than me. And so basically, Diaz, a 170, after he fought Rory, was like, these guys are way too big. I have to do what they do and lose too much weight and become smaller. He's a natural 70 who fought at 55 and did well at 55, but that's an unnatural weight for him. I really like old classic rock. So that's a really interesting question that connects to fighting and art. Why does new music suck? And it's not just because I'm old, and old people always think new music sucks, but it sucks because it is made by committee, which means a whole bunch of people sit in a room together and they say, do that, take that off, do more of that, how about this beat? And they make it. And nothing good has ever been made by committee, which is why, although this show tonight was great, you know what the UFC does well, really well? Big shows, right? You know what they don't do really well? All the other shows, because they act like they're all big and they treat it the same. So when these guys are like the best fighters in the world and the craziest fighters, the winner gets it, like they go hard. It makes sense when Jorge is fighting. It makes sense when Ronda was fighting. It makes sense, when Cormier was fighting Stipe and John Jones is fighting. It makes sense. But on a typical Saturday night on ESPN Plus, watched by not many people in an empty arena because of COVID or whatever, you're like, this just sounds like weird hype. But it's big corporations are made by committee. There's a large groups of people, and they have to a bunch of people have to approve every piece, and it ends up kind of shitty. And so it's new music. I like old school fighting too. I like old school music. I'm old though, right? So I know that. That's my bias. How did they go down so east? I'm not sure what we're saying. If you're talking about in weight, it's not easy. They just worked their fucking brains out because everyone was big, so everybody and cut a lot of weight, so they all had to figure out how to do it. First round was 10-9, 10-8, 10-8 for Poirier. Yeah, it was exact same score as Michael Chandler against Oliveira. It was the exact same score. Chandler was on top of Oliveira, beat the shit out of him, 10-9, 10-8, 10-8. It was exactly the same thing. And which is why we don't know what's going to happen, because that only happened a month ago, and you saw how that went. So do you think he fights again? I don't know. Do you like Booger Beard? I do. Booger Beard is my friend on Twitter. He's an odd character, but he's a cool guy. He's a good person, it seems. Okay. Do you think Conor did well in the fight with Khabib? He did by standards of fighting Khabib. So Khabib dominates everybody to nothing, including Dustin, and that's with all due respect to the great Dustin Poirier, who I love and admire. Fucking Conor did good compared to everybody else, still dominated by Khabib. So it's one of those things where when somebody normally smashes everybody so that they score a 4 out of 10, you could score a 6 out of 10, which is still getting murdered by Khabib, and still did well. Although Ally Aquinta did really well. Very, very, very kind of you. Thank you. My last fight, I think, was 2014. I think so. It's been a while, but I train. I'm a martial artist for life. I'm a huge Conor fan, but I think he needs to call it a day. He doesn't have the same spark. I think the leg break will be the end. So I think the leg break could be. It's I hope for any person, and I mean Greg Hardy, not a fan of. And I hope him and his family are good, right? I hope that they do good. People, you only have one life, and I hope that people get to live it as best they can. So I hope that he lives it the way he wants, but I think it could be the end, historically speaking. If he does well from this, he'll be one of the rare ones, but most don't get through it. But I don't think anyone needs to call it today, because I think, Dustin on post-fight presser now. Anyone, please just let me know how, what's happening, because I can't watch that and hang here at the same time. Do you think that long layoffs are related to long layoffs? Since Weidman and McGregor broke their legs in similar fashion. Probably not age, but although McGregor's 32, I think. Weidman was older. A lot of so we're always looking for the commonalities. One of the more common things about the leg breaks, Anderson, Weidman, Tyrone Spong, they were a little older. Conor's young. Conor tried to please the media, and the haters would never like him. He wanted to fight 5 rounds to prove he can get. Yeah, I mean, but he. What do you think? Yes, the first round, I thought you could give him a 10-8, although he wasn't surprised they did, but good. In Vegas, they don't. Oh no, actually, they're leaning towards doing that more. So, but it was the same score with Chandler. Chandler was up 10-9, 10-8, 10-8, and got knocked out. And Chandler's my guy. So, Nick is coming back this year. Yeah, that's wicked. You look good. I'm 5'11". You're 5'11", 170? Yeah, I mean, I'm in okay shape. I'm not jacked, but I'm 170 at 5'6" or 7. 6. 5.5. I'm definitely not 5'7". You're aiming for 175. Poutine, yeah. Oh, so I was discussing, if you're just joining me, I did a thing where I made poutine, a Canadian delicacy, with Chuck Liddell, Forrest Griffin, and Rory McDonald. You can find it on YouTube. I had more hair. I'm a hockey family dual citizen. Poutine is French fries, brown gravy, and Quebec cheese curds. True. That is exactly. It does suck. What are you talking about? I think you might. Oh, music. Yeah. What most of us human beings struggle with is the desire and motivation to do the hard things required to improve. Does Conor have the will to face his flaws and do the work? He's done it throughout his life. I mean, he wasn't born a guy who could beat Jose Aldo. He created that. He did that. So he's shown the ability to do that. It's harder when you're rich and famous and there's other great things in your life. And, it's hard to be single-minded when you're not single-minded, right? Do you think Wonderboy looked his age today? Yeah. So Burns did really well. Yeah. Burns did really well. Yeah. It's a very hard thing. Very hard. When somebody wins, and we can choose to do this either way. We can go, this guy was awesome, or why did this guy suck tonight? Or this guy's game plan was amazing, or what did this guy do wrong? But it's a dynamic. It is created. It's living, right? It's all of it. So Steven's fast and he's good, and he's, I would credit Gilbert for that. I would give the credit to Gilbert. I would not withhold the Gilbert credit by undermining Wonderboy. Do you like the Misfits or the Clash? I do indeed. Both. Conor is the modern day Ali. Joe Strummer, easy. He is not. Robin Media Protocol, can you explain why John Morgan always goes first? Yes, I kind of can. Respect. People respect John. And this is actually a really great question. People respect John Morgan because he is a traditional style journalist who's a workhorse. He's a true professional. And yeah, he's respected by everybody. So it's sort of, he's kind of earned it. And I like that, actually. When you look and you see like an OG who does the work, he's not, he's just, people like him, and they should too. I just did a chat with him the other day, and I was talking to him, and there were different times in my life where like I didn't appreciate him for what he is and how good he is at what he does. I remember back at Fight Network where we'd like be like dumb questions by journalists, and like we would point to these guys, but I'm a different guy now than I was then. And so is he, although he's just consistently been good, so it's out of respect, and he's earned it. He's earned it. I'm happy to see it. I'm happy to see that. It's a nice thing to see that the right people. So again, I'm answering this question. Why does John Morgan go first at media? He's earned it, and he's respected. Conor did a ton of damage from the bottom with those elbows. Yeah, but not as much as he took from the top, I would say, And that's, I could be wrong. That's what it appeared like to me. And I'm pretty good at this. I've been doing this for a long time, looking at these things up close. Aldana's really, really good. And she will get a title shot one day. I think she's smart enough to wait a little longer, because Amanda at some point will get a little too comfortable. And if she's still coming up, when Amanda just dips ever so slightly, that's when you want it. Even still, it's going to be very difficult. Oh, man, people are really kind to me lately. Sounds good. I mean, we should have one now, right? I mean, I'm done work for the day. This is not work. It's a pleasure. Dustin, we're going to fight again in the October or sidewalk. You don't say things. He said, yeah. I mean, yeah, you do. You can say whatever, right? My jiu-jitsu is doing pretty good. I was granted my purple belt by a professor that I admire greatly in the last few months. So jiu-jitsu, I was really focused on it when I first started fighting in 2007, 2005, 6, 7, 8. I competed. I got bronze at the Pan Am Games. It was called the Pan Am Games at the time. Now it's called the Pan Games. And I won NAGA Worlds in my weight class. But then when I started fighting, I really focused on kind of the overall game, and I didn't wear a gi, and I got a purple belt recently, which is nice. Hey, thanks. McGregor, I think you're saying this 32, I assume. Thought Conor was coming off a 2-year inactivity and whiskey after the Mayweather fight. Still did the best against Khabib. He did well, but the best, but still getting smashed. He's impressive, but that just shows how far Khabib is ahead of all these guys. Let's see what else. When a good fighter underestimates a fight, bad things happen in the rematch, like Weidman Silva 2. Yeah. Yep. Poirier in their second fight. Yeah, true. Love the chat, Robin. Have a good one. Thank you very much. Dustin, channeling Robin. Respect for Oliveira. Picked himself up off the mat. Learned through loss. Yeah. Yep. Sweet. Let's talk about that. Oliveira is a true martial artist, right? He's the kind of guy that you can definitely admire, like as a martial artist. Constant improvement, Yeah, it's a weird one right now because these guys are prize fighters, but they, the ideal, I think, sort of pocket right now is a martial arts sort of lifestyle as sort of in a prize fighting world. And I think that's sort of Dustin Poirier right now. I think that's Charles Oliveira. I mean, these guys are legit. It's come up the first time. Can he do it a second time? It's very difficult. Love this, Robin. Is Gordon Ryan getting the MMA game? He's got an illness, I believe, Gordon. Something's wrong with his digestive system, or something related to that. Hey, there's an old school. I sell shirts that say hot lava, and every now and again people will buy them and they'll say, what does it mean? I'm like, it was a thing I yelled talking about, I forget even who it was, that Verdum, that when you go to the mat, it's hot lava, which was a game when I was a kid. You would play hot lava and you'd have to jump on the furniture. You weren't allowed to touch the rug. If anyone wants a hot lava shirt, that shows you the OG of the OG, like enjoying my stuff, and I'm very thankful. It's at shoprobinblack.com. I'm back. What was your favorite fight of the night? We did touch on that one. I liked the Sugar Sean fight. Really did. That's rough. It's rough. That was Dustin who said that. You earned the right to say that. What made you want to start fighting? Was there a moment? Oh, my whole life I wanted to do it. And I'm glad, like, I went off on a different path. I was in a band in Canada, and then I'm really proud that I did it. It was hard, but I'm proud I did it. I believe in a good fight, but the wife and other stuff isn't honorable. Yeah, I mean, if it affects you, then it's worth doing. Anything that we think is outside of the rules is effective. Right? It's up to you. We're all different people, right? We all get to do things. We all get to judge things. We can decide that that's not honorable to us, but we're all different, right? Yeah, that was rough. But it's part of the game. It's live by the rolling knee bar, die by the rolling knee bar, right? For someone who may not want to train MMA just as a fan to better comprehend technique, how much can we learn from YouTube alone? Not much. It's neat. You can understand like the jigsaw puzzle of it, but you can train. You should train, because especially jiu-jitsu. Jiu-jitsu is easy to train, right? It's not like you're never going to get hurt. I mean, you can get hurt doing anything physical, but it's not really all that physically dangerous, and it's hard work. But I've seen 400-pounders do it. I've seen 80-year-olds do it. I've seen little kids do it. Every person, there's a jiu-jitsu for every body type. I know lots of 300-400-pound black belts. And when I say lots, I mean 10 or 15. I know lots of skinny little 63-year-olds that are rolling around, armbarring people. It's a workout, but it's not the hardest workout. It's really cool. Yeah, could be Usman. Usman could be Khabib. Oliver is the most dangerous fighter in the UFC. I mean, we'd have to define what we think dangerous is, but he's pretty awesome. We'd have to define the word dangerous, And I don't think we'd just be like, he can submit you or he can knock you out, because that's more of a talking point than everybody can. Why not? Because the dude broke his leg in half. See, look how old school savage Svinger is. Sap Alvarez scale. If you go on YouTube after this and you put in Robin Black, Sap Alvarez scale, it's some old school shit I was doing. That's a great question. I'm going to write that down and address it in the coming days. Am I the only Canadian here? I am a Canadian. You know that, right? What is this mess? I don't know, man. It's a very, very good question. What do you play? I'm a singer, and a terrible one. What's next for Justin Gaethje? No idea. I have no idea. You keep cutting out, which is why I asked if you're back. Oh, I don't think it's my Wi-Fi, but I could be wrong. MMA halls. Oh, yeah, the MMA halls. Those are my homies. I like them. So if anyone doesn't know the MMA halls, it's been in my home channel, the MMA halls. The MMA halls are funny, clever, smart, entertaining. Please watch them. What's next for Thompson? That's a tough one. Steven's 38. He still moves well. He's still a great martial artist. He's he's going to keep fighting because he loves fighting. But that's a really good question. It's tough now, Chicken or beef? Oh, I like beef. I'll go beef. Stones or Zeppelin, I'll go. Oh, it's a tough one too. Anything that's close to you, so you'll take offense to it being mocked. I don't know. You'll take offense to it. No, I don't know what you're talking about. Lava chocolate cake is awesome. Yeah, what a journey for Dustin. Yeah, I was just talking about that. So you lose to Conor on your way up and it throws you. Then you rebuild and you come back. And you don't win every fight, but you learn from the ones you don't win. You fight your way all the way up to fighting Khabib in Abu Dhabi, I believe, or somewhere in the Middle East, pre-fight island. I think it was Abu Dhabi. And, it doesn't go. Then you go back and you rebuild, and start to change as a person. And then you beat McGregor. And then you got, now to fight for the title, you'll never get the Khabib one back. Not never. You never know. Khabib's mom could wake up one day and say, Khabib, I really think I had a dream and I think your father would want you to do one more. And Khabib would say, Dustin, if Dustin won, let's do it, right? You never know. You just don't know. We change, he says he'll never fight. Well, we've heard that many times. And he says, my mother said, well, she could change, right? I've always wanted to try it in the past. One day I'm willing with the extra time. You just go to a jiu-jitsu gym and you ask for the free week. They might give you a gi or you just wear your stuff and you just go in, you just stay chill and you just let them show you things. And people will choke you, just tap, don't panic, and just enjoy it. Jiu-jitsu is really fun. What tips do you recommend? Breathing exercises, yoga, over anything that will help you relax when you're doing it, right? Anything that will help you relax, I find really, really helps. And retain more concepts related to jiu-jitsu. Okay, to retain more concepts, bring a book and write down everything you did when you got there. You're like, okay, we did Kimuras. I noticed they said put the elbow to the sternum. We worked on this. We did this kind of warm-up, just 20 minutes, not even, 12 minutes of notes at the end of every class. Massive, massive improvement. It applies to everything. Make notes. So... Not a fan. Put you down as undecided. I have a friend, Brendan, and he would always say, can I put you down as undecided? When people have strong opinions. Think, indeed. I grew up playing hockey my whole life, but I'm a little scared, to be honest, to try BJJ. Any advice? Yeah. Okay. I was just going to jokingly say, suck it up. But truthfully, it's not scary. It's like you go, you say, could I try the free class? They say, yes, come on in. Here's the change room. You put on your shorts, your thing. It's like, oh my God, what do I do? They say, we're going to do a little bit of jogging. You're like, oh my God, I'm tired. And then they say, okay, we're going to go. Oh, you're new? Okay, we're going to show you how to shrimp. You're going to move around. You won't be able to move super well. Then they'll say, today, we're going to work on a Kimura, a guillotine, and a sweep. You're going to try it. You won't be that good at it. At the end, you'll be like, oh my God, I can't believe I was scared to try this. It was so easy. Everyone was so nice. Like everybody has... Scared, my advice is don't be scared, but it's very difficult to take that advice. But my next level of advice is do it anyways. And after one class, you'll be like, oh my God, it was so not scary. It was really fun. We got Canadians. I see we got a bunch of them. You were the one who asked. Okay. We're going to take a couple more questions and then I guess we'll just jump off, right? It's really fun. See, Sean knows the MMA holes are wonderfully wonderful. Good people, really good people. What is your next planned content work? Okay, tomorrow morning, I got to get up and then do a breakdown of Karate Combat. Not gotta, I get to. I love it. I'm going to do a breakdown of Karate Combat Season 2 of my favorite fight of it. Because Season 2 reruns tomorrow night on Karate Combat YouTube channel. Then I got to build also tomorrow, get to, excuse me. I get to do a breakdown of a couple of things from Bellator 262 next week. Then Friday night during Bellator 262, I will do instant analysis. I'll start getting ready for Bellator 263 3 in Los Angeles, which I'll be going to, I believe. I think the week before that, I might be going to Amsterdam to commentate LFL, Levels Fight League. So it keeps going. For me right now, there's so much other interesting work. Karate Combat, Wave TV, I don't know, Haymakers. Haymakers is on Instagram and YouTube. I'll be working for them next week as well, building some breakdowns. And there's so much going on that actually what I'm kind of consuming the least often is sort of the in-between UFC shows. So I'm missing some of the up-and-comers, but it's impossible to watch everything because there's so much. Is that real brickwork on the wall? No, that is literally peel and stick stuff. What is an MMA hall? The MMA halls have a YouTube channel, and they're my friends. And if you follow them, please say Robin Black sent me. They'll like that. This question I get asked a lot. Honestly, the only way to get involved in any kind of media these days is you must start immediately yourself writing stuff. If you're a writer, you write stuff and you put it on Medium and Facebook, and that's it. And you start doing it, and you do a lot of it, and you do it for free, and you get obsessive about it. If you're a video guy, you shoot videos of yourself and you put it on Twitter and Instagram and YouTube. And that's it. There's no other answer. There's no job out there waiting to pay you a bunch of money to learn. You have to go learn and start yourself. But it's freeing. It's freeing. Just start. Start immediately. And just do it. After you do the first one, it'll be invigorating. The second one will be, challenging. The fourth one, you'll be like, oh my God, this is so much work. The 10th one, you'll be like, oh my God, I have 10 articles or 10 clips. And it'll lead to 100 really quickly. And then you'll be so far along, you won't even believe it. I have no idea. I mean, it's so difficult. This is a thing. This is a television-ism. Who would you favor in the matchup? And we'll say, well, these guys did this. This guy's a black belt in this. This guy's NCAA this. This guy knocked out this many people. But the truth is, at this level, that's all just shit for television. That's all just shit to sell pay-per-views. It's not real. Real is tricky. Real is tricky. And real, if you're going to be truthful, the truth is, I don't know, I'll probably just calf kick him. Can you flip the sand in the hourglass, please? Yes, I know that feeling. Yes, of course I can. Well, you're just like that. Please, can you? It's like, yes, I can. Same question. I don't think so. I think like when they make favorites on betting sites, often they're whoever's most popular and who's ever kind of had the bigger fights. And 2 wins over McGregor against 1 win over Michael Chandler that a lot of people don't realize how great he is. This ends up being pushed. So he will be the betting favorite. Yes, that's true. It's true. And he knows it, and you learn from that. It's part of the experience. Tony should get a title shot before. I hope so. Mystical wondrous place that few know about. I don't know. Oh, Canada. Yeah. Oh, Canada. Conor got up like a hyper version of the Mendes fight. Yes, true. No, I mean, you can't say he would have socked him like he could have. And also, we live in a universe where he broke his leg in half. That's the only universe we live in. That's the only path we know what happened. But he did jump up, but the first thing he threw was a leg kick, and that could have been what broke his femur. Study the way cats movie. I study the way cats move. I study the way all animals move. Oh, yeah, it is there. Everyone here that's timid of jiu-jitsu should just do it. It's good for you. It's not a macho contest. Yeah, you'll love it. You'll love it. It's such a fun thing. Not difficult, not hard, not scary, not intimidating, very welcoming. Like most people are like, oh my God, I can't believe how fun that was. Guillotine said he almost tapped, but not in front of his dad. Yeah. Can you imagine if he did? Again, universe changes. Mystic Mac called the stretcher. You got to give it to him. Yeah, see, it's too early. Guy broke his leg in half. It's too early to make jokes, but I get it. I'm 40, but I'm still cool black. I'm 50. Samuelson. It's true. You're welcome. Do you think Conor would have won? No. But who knows, right? I don't know if there are parallel universes in the world. Neither do you, neither do physicists. But the only one I'm living in, Conor's leg broke in half, and Dustin Poirier won round one, 10-9, 10-8, 10-8. What would have happened if the bone didn't break? Who knows? Chandler won a fight 10-9, 10-8, 10-8. Won round one and was knocked out in the second round. I don't know. But we live in only one universe, and in that universe, Dustin Poirier winner by doctor stoppage TKO. Hey, James. Hope everyone is well. Yeah, man, we're having fun. This is cool. I'm glad everyone's here. Any recommendations for martial arts or BJJ instructionals? There's a lot of good stuff. Duke Rufus has a really good university online, and Bang Ludwig does. There's a lot of good stuff. Did Conor regress as a fighter over the last 4 years? No, you don't have to regress. If you stay the same or only get like this much better, but the game gets this much better, you know, the net result will be regression. But no, he didn't. I did. I will never do a shoey, and I'm game for anything, but you know, this can is a perfectly good delivery system for a beverage of any kind. Like, I don't need my shoe for that. Although I like that guy, Tiamasa. And I'm not trying to be like a pussy, you know, and in fact, I'm one of those guys who, if you were like pussy, I'd probably just do it. Because I'm just a person. People are like that. Two best sports for cardio is hockey and swimming. And running. Karate Combat with Boss Root. And yeah, I'm on that starting at episode 5. From 5 to 12, I'm on there doing analysis in between fights and breakdowns leading into the main events. Didn't see it. Like Teddy Atlas, though. And I don't dislike Max Kellerman, but I mean, whatever. I mean, it's not my fucking network, right? What was the best fight today? We got asked that a lot, but I really enjoyed the Sugar Sean fight. Don't go. Okay, yeah, a lot of people are popping on now, which is great. I guess maybe the press conference just finished. So let's take who's got some good questions? I know we got some, I hate McGregor, I love McGregor, but haven't watched season 1 of Karate Combat. Season 3. We're on season 3, episode 2, Karate Combat, and episode 5, I start being on it. Robin, thanks for doing this. Hey, it's my pleasure. I'll finish my work. I'm still kind of wound up. Drank coffee at 8 p.m. So yeah, it's nice. Who's got some like real like questions? I'm on a terrible streak. This is the second consecutive fight I've watched where someone broke their leg, and it's going to be more of that. So some people are just joining us for, you know, the first time in this long stream. I have one more beer in the fridge. I'm probably going to have it, and then I'm going to go to bed. The leg break is going to happen more and more. The reason Muay Thai fighters don't fucking spam each other with like low leg kicks is because it's dangerous for the kicker. Right? There's a good chance McGregor broke his on the kick. He popped up from being underneath, and he immediately threw a kick before they traded punches, and his leg broke. And it's highly unlikely that it's a kick from 5 minutes earlier when he's fighting on the ground using both of his legs, you know, like in the guard, pressing on the hips. It's highly unlikely that it was broken earlier. It was probably the kick immediately before. And that's going to pop up Monday or Tuesday or Wednesday or later in the week, or somebody's going to mention it. Come back to this and take a look and see if I'm correct. And I could be wrong, but it's the most common thing. These patterns of how things unfold, we see them over and over again. You know, if you've been in this game, you know, deep in the fight game for a couple of decades, you've seen a lot of these, and it's often the kick right before the big replant of the foot that does it. But we'll see. Conor's now a great failure. I mean, if you're a hater or you're unhappy or you're grumpy, that's cool. But, when people have accomplished great things in their life, failure is a part of it. And failure sets you up to become successful again. Don't fear failure. And I mean, I'm not trying to pick on you, Nathan, but often when people are like, get real excited about failing and want other people to quit, they are people who quit and fear failure. I'm not saying that's you. That's a very common thing. Yeah, it could be done. Yeah, very well could be done, man. When you break your leg in half, it absolutely. Also, that's not how you spell done, but that's okay. I'm not like a crazy for spelling over here. Find a paper. Okay, I'm gonna find some good, heavy, awesome questions. Any insight on Chad Mendez? No, I don't have any. Dude's he looks huge. Yeah, he might be 55. He's not a tall man. He's like 5'4". Like, I've spoken to him a few times. Remember when he was fighting Conor, I asked him about the game plan. He's like, I'm not going to tell you. I was like, why? Who am I? Get accepted into the press pool, apply for credentials for fights. But that's not the important part. So somebody earlier was asking about MMA journalism or sports journalism. The important part, fuck credentials, fuck going to things. That doesn't matter. Writing all the same stuff from the same press conference, irrelevant. You can watch it online. Write meaningful things from a different perspective, on Medium, Facebook, whatever, or do your videos, doing your thing on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, whatever. That's more important than any of that old school journalism. Again, I don't want to pour my beer into a shoe. I'm not trying to be a hater. Okay, well, we're probably going to do it. I have one more. So no, I really don't want to do it. My shoes are gross. Conor career has ended already. He can't come up this trash talk anymore. I have a feeling you've been drinking because you enjoy fights, and that's cool. But yeah, quitting, stopping, failing, these are usually reflections of our understanding of failure. Failure is important. Failure is very important. Dustin Poirier failed a lot. Conor beat him. It helped him defeat Conor twice. Khabib beat him. It helped him get better. And now he'll be fighting for the real title. He was fighting for the real title then. He had an interim title. But failure is important. And the way you use failure is take great risks. Sometimes you fail, then you get better. So it's important not to look, if you start making fun of failure, you'll start to become afraid of failing, which will make you afraid of trying. And then you're just going to be an angry guy on the internet. Have you ever written a book? I've been working on a book for a couple of years with a professor of psychology about combat sports psychology, Pereira. So, okay, what do we call that? A moonsault to mount? He literally did and I've seen him do the backflip to pass the guard before, but you don't usually end up in mount. That's pretty sick. And good on him, It's interesting, guys who have a particular way of fighting, even when that way is outside the box. By the way, the idea of operating outside the box, clearly I do my thing outside the box. My opinion, the box sucks, right? Why would you want to do something inside the box? Somebody made that box. It's not real. That box has been created to hold you in it. Operating outside the box is an exciting thing. Only mistake Conor made this weekend, not the only, he made many, was that he chose to be the Conor, the better than you. He made many mistakes, and we all do. It's part of life. If you could be a tree, would you? No. I'm happy being me. $300,000 on the UFC press conference. I don't know what that means. What principles of karate do you think Wonderboy and McGregor implement to their games? So principles are a really cool thing, like concepts. And my last video, it's on YouTube. It's also on wherever you're watching this. But my last video, I talked about the hierarchy of defense. And the hierarchy of defense is sort of looks at the different ways you can defend yourself. These kinds of principles are really, really interesting. Wonder Boy uses and McGregor try to use principles of drawing, which is to like draw you in, intercepting. That's a whole night. That's a whole night. But you know what? I'm going to make a note of it right here, that we're going to talk about the karate principles. Great idea. Actually, I'm doing an interview with Boss Rutan on Monday, which will come out on Haymaker's YouTube next week. And I'm going to talk to Boss Rutan about the principles of karate that we see in mainstream fighting. That's going to be really cool. Thank you for asking. Pereira looked wicked. Yeah, he's a really cool fighter. How long does it take for a fighter to recover and fight after a break? Well, it depends what a break is. If it's a leg break, it'll be a year. One more beer. Yeah, okay. I'm going to get one more. Hold on. You can still hear me. I know. So it is nice that people care about me doing this. Here we come. Sorry, I'm sure people jumped off, or we're on and we're like, hey, yeah, we'll have one more. It's a very kind thing that people want to spend time with me talking about fighting, really, honestly. My friend John Ramdeen, I hope to be doing some commentary with him soon. Conor is done. Again, like he could be, but, he might not be, but he very well could be. It'll take a very rare and special person to come back from that. Anderson did. Why? Because he's a rare and special person, right? It's very rare. What happened to the show on FN? So FN was a network called Fight Network. And we used to, if you look on YouTube, we were there for years. Bizarrely, right around the time that YouTube, Instagram, digital was becoming huge, they did cut their entire digital creation department. And I was in it. I didn't run the company. It wasn't my strategy. All right, last one, and then it'll be bedtime. Will you check out my band? Okay. Anyone want to check out Crazy Plan 9's band? Please hit me up on Twitter with that same link, and we'll do it, because right now I won't be able to do it. Which stoppage are we talking about? I don't know. Well, look, see, we're all hanging. Moutinho, who's that again? Yeah, you gotta remind me of that later. Ideas to make custom songs for each fighter. Jump into MMA media that way. You can, but you don't jump into. You gotta earn it. You gotta build it. Somebody asked earlier, why does John Morgan get the first question? Because hard, repetitive work for a long time. That's life. But if I told you, you could be doing what you want to do, what you dream of doing in 5 years, if you just slowly stuck to a plan, you would do it. Well, I can tell you that. If you take the slow, systematic, incremental improvement route, you will get to where you want to go. On the third eye that formed on Jessica I's forehead, I didn't actually see it. I saw clips of it. I'm a fan of hers. I like her. That's rough. That's part of the game, That football player, again, I forgot his name. Greg Hardy, his eye was fucked up from like one hard punch. I'll stay. Okay, cool. Let's hang. How you doing, RP? Doing pretty good. I thought Wonder Boy had the biggest moment of round 2 with the spinning hook kick. When he knocked Durinho down. I thought he won a close fight. Yeah. He won round 2, but he did not win round 3. It was a great fight. I enjoyed Max Griffin. Yeah, God, it's my guy, but Max Griffin, he was like, everybody follow me on Instagram, and I watched, and like 20,000 people followed him. So good on him. That's good. And he is cool. I communicate with him on YouTube or Instagram and Twitter. It was a cool fight. He won the last 2 minutes, and whoever won those last 2 minutes won the fight. Condit had a great second round, looked great. Like, I was happy for him. Choked that he didn't win, but I was happy for Max that he did. This is the game. Inclined to think McGregor made far too much money off the back of that fight and become detrimental. Yeah, I mean, it's a narrative, right? It's a narrative that makes sense. It's a narrative that does make sense, and it's probably one of 27 ingredients that have changed his path. It's a big one. That was fun. The guy O'Malley beat. Okay, yeah. Oh, yes. Okay, yes. Right. Sorry, I forgot his Moutinho. Yeah, I forgot that was his nickname. We discussed this earlier, but some people just joined in. So Herb is standing back here, which is not his fault, and nor is he out of position. Fighters are moving. The ref's doing the best he can to be in position. And Sean lands uppercut on Moutinho, and Herb sees it, and he sees the physical response, and he thinks to himself, this could separate him from his consciousness. And he switches to, I need to see you protect yourself. And I heard him say it. And when he switches to that mode, in his mind is like, I don't know if he's going to lose consciousness. That was a huge shot. I'm going to move in to protect this guy who's taking a lot of punches. And I need to see him protect himself. And then he got hit with 2 or 3 more because Sean heard it too. And Sean's aware and knows this guy, Herb wants to stop the fight. I can make that happen. And he did. And it was a good stoppage from Herb's perspective. Our perspective, although real, and ours isn't relevant to the actual experience. What's relevant to the experience is Herb's perspective. And in Herb's perspective, that was the process. This guy's probably hurt. That was a big shot. He's taken a lot of damage. I got to protect him. He's not going to win. I need to see you protect yourself. Sean hears it, punches him 4 times, and he's like, you know what? I got to stop this. He did what he did. And his perspective matters. Ours doesn't. Ours is unique to us, which is cool. But Herb's is unique to him, and he's the guy who does it. So what we see or think or what we would have done is not the same, because what we would have done if we had learned everything Herb had learned, and if we had experienced everything Herb had experienced, and if we had his body of knowledge, we would have done what he did. What we would have done with our rudimentary knowledge, with our lack of full picture, without the reference experience is not relevant, right? And that's okay. And even when these guys are wrong, the reason they're wrong is because they're humans, and humans make errors, and humans make errors despite their best efforts. And that is a part of it. And, there's no reason to be mad. Humans doing the best they can, as prepared as they can be, as sharp as they can be, making errors, that is going to happen. That is definitely going to happen. And it's going to happen again. And we'll be like, fuck, why didn't that guy see it? The reason he didn't see it is because he's a human, and he prepared as best he could, took in the most information he could, and still failed, because humans fail. Humans are fallible. He broke his last kick, the ankle trick. Yeah, I thought the last kick did it. Most common is the kick before the foot hits the ground. No, I don't think so. Did Herb let the round end because he saw the leg? No, I don't think he would do that. I don't think he saw the leg. I really don't. He's watching him, and he is covering up. So Herb's imperative in that moment is he intelligently defending himself? And we hear that term, and we're like, what does it mean? It's like, well, is this happening? Is his eye aware of it? As he sees something, is he trying to protect himself? Intelligently defending yourself, standing, somebody's punching, I'm trying to respond. I'm on the ground, and in fact, I don't know if we'll ever hear about this, but after you hear Conor screaming, doctor stoppage, he kind of knew and was aware of it. Yeah, it's a weird one. But no, Herb, I don't think would do that. Thoughts on Poirier versus Oliveira? Yeah, I like it. It's a very different fight. As I think about it, Poirier wants to bully Oliveira. So Poirier just dealt with a bully, and he understands how tough it is. And just because you win doesn't mean it wasn't stressful. It was very stressful. Poirier, this is a tough experience. So you can understand that and then go, I want him to experience that. Not being rude or not being like a bit of a dick about it, but just the feeling of being the alpha. I think he might want to put that on Oliveira. It doesn't mean they'll win. Come on, man. Yeah. Let me guess. You're a Muay Thai world champion. The reason I know that's not so, although you'll probably just say that it is because real Muay Thai world champions know that's not how that works. Dana said he hated that fight. I have no idea. My job on television is often to make these types of predictions, and that's why we think they're logical, because we see people on TV make them. That's a future champion. But they're not real. Like logically, there are so many variables. Let's say Tai Tuivasa. Let's say Aldana. Let's say Sugar Sean. They have the capacity to do it. Oh my God, they're going to be a future champion. One, beep, with the stabilizers in their knees, and it's done, And then, turned out they weren't. Yeah, but there are so many thousands of variables. It just, yeah. To be honest, like people see, that sucks. That guy became rich and he sucked. It's like, rich is good, Having a family that you can take care of. Like, there's a lot of great things in the world. Okay, bye. Weird that you'd even take the time to actually type that. Greetings, Finland. Can you imagine? It's like something sucks. I'm going to take time to stay here longer. Time is our most important resource. Do not waste your time on shit you hate. Now, if you hate something enough to tweet about Stephen A. Smith, maybe it's not the same kind of hate. It's an enjoyment of hating it, right? But time is your most important thing. You'll never get it back. You could die we hope that everybody lives a long time, but you can die in 6 days or 3 months. Do not waste your time on stuff you hate. And if that happens to be this, get out, right? Don't waste it. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. But, I thought he did well. Yeah, of course. It was traumatic to to see somebody take that kind of abuse. McGregor right now has his femur is broken in half. He may never fight again, so. I mean, in many ways he was. I don't think anything about Conor's reaction to the loss. He was in shock. Go interview a guy who just got in a car accident and broke his leg in half. It's the same thing, right? There's no reason to judge. I mean, I get he's talk to me and they want to talk to him, and I get it. I'm not judging anybody, but that's not rational. And we do that a lot. We'll judge somebody's tweet. We don't know that they haven't slept in 2 days because their mom's sick or whatever. We'll judge somebody's tweet. See, this says who he is. It's somebody's in shock, or their mother is ill, or they just lost their house, and we'll be mad at their tweet. Our judgment doesn't make any sense. MMA holes are my people. If you don't know who MMA holes are, check them out on YouTube. They're a lot of fun and cool. Yeah, good. Yeah, that's really good. And I mean, hell, no, I'm not. No, I've got to go to bed. I mean, I think one of them has COVID, right? Do you think people are being too hard on Teddy Atlas, Kellerman commentary? They're not that bad. I didn't watch it, but it's not their fault, right? Like, let's say they are bad. Let's say they are. Whose fault is that? The people who put them there. They have jobs. They have a job at a network, and they have a boss, and the boss says, we need you on Saturday night to sit at this desk. It's not their fault. I don't know. We don't like change, Excuse me. Should Conor retire? What he should do, what he will do, is heal a leg, think about, what he wants, try to pursue what he wants, try to deal with the change and the challenge, and he'll do the best he can. And if he can't, he'll retire. And if he can, he will try to come back. Because it's a special occasion. I'm with you. I was just curious because you've taught me how to, meaningless it is to wonder. Yeah, sometimes wondering is okay. If you pause exactly when Conor and Dustin load to trade left hands, you can clearly see that Conor's back foot is bent right where it breaks. Yeah, because it was hit. Because he hit something probably in the kick right before it. Bang. Are you wearing an aura ring? Yes, you have any benefits. No, I am not. I don't know what that is, and I have not had any benefits. Past your bedtime screen. Okay. No, he was doing great. If you see your guy hurt, but if you see your guy just toughing it out, like having a defining fight, making $75,000, creating a bunch of fans, having people interested, that's a fight of his life. It's a tough one. It's a hard one. So I'm not sure. I didn't watch. But yeah, speaking in sound bites is something you get trapped in. And, it's not their fault. So both these guys are great guys, great fighters, great minds. You get taught to speak in sound bites and narratives, and it's not their fault if that's happening. See, okay, if you enjoyed it, then good. Maybe, yeah, maybe. Shevchenko's a fucking killer, man. Don't understand why some corners don't throw in the towel and save some years. This fighter's going to fight if the fighter's kind of defending. So if you're talking about Moutinho, we've come this far. Also, man, that relationship, when your coach says you've had enough, you're like, no, I haven't. Man, why didn't you? You don't want to be the guy who took your guy out of it and took away his chance to say, look what I did tonight. And look what I did comes in many forms. Yes, you want to protect them, but Herb stopped it, and Herb wasn't wrong. Herb stopped it based on what he was seeing. And, but the corner didn't have to stop that. Maybe the greatest fight you ever have. But this is, for a lot of these guys, they're not going to fight for 10 years. They're not going to be champions. They're not going to make $1 million. What they're going to have is that one night in Las Vegas where they showed that much heart, and they're going to show it for years, and they're going to remember it for years. And it's going to inspire them when they have challenges at work and with family and with illness and stuff. They're going to go, I handled that in front of a full arena in Las Vegas. I can handle this. And it's going to be a part of their personal stories, My thoughts on Nick Diaz coming back. I mean, it's the greatest thing ever. No matter how he does, I'm happy for him, and I'm happy to get to see him fight. Thank you, man. So nice. Against O'Malley, he'd have a viral moment. Yeah, but he already had a viral moment. We're talking about it now, hours later, on the first fight of a main card where Conor McGregor broke his leg in half. We're talking about it, so he fucking did well. Yeah. That's not bad. Yeah. Ronaldo, that one's not bad. I mean, it's a little early. Guy's probably still in the hospital, getting bolts in there. Yeah, it's a little early, but it's not bad. Robbie versus Rory. Yeah, remember that? I don't know what we're going to get with Nick Diaz, but I'm excited for him. All right, guys, I think I should go. Although we got fucking 200 people hanging out here, and I'm very grateful. I'm fucking grateful anybody wants to hang out with me. At 3 o'clock in the morning after like a crazy night of fights. I'm super thankful for what I get to do, and man, I get to like pay all my. You can see I'm tired now, right? It's been a long week, and it's going to be a long week ahead. Bellator, Karate Combat, my family over at Wave TV and Haymakers. Like I got a lot of exciting stuff. Bellator, Pitbull versus AJ McKee. I think I'm going to be in LA for that one. Yeah, a lot going on. Yeah, Robbie's. Yeah, it's good for him to take a bit of a break. Is O'Malley the first? Excuse me, I'm like drinking a bubbly fluid. Is O'Malley the first case of glass ankle? No, that's silly. Uncle Jim said Conor is scheduled for surgery tomorrow. Yeah, so I'm sure he'll go to his party, which he shouldn't go to it, but he will. Yeah. You know, you get the surgery, they put the pins in it. Oh, thank you. Thank you, guys. Like I was just signing off, and I was like, oh, there's so many people. And I'm so appreciative. And so I'm kind of half staying. Grateful to be here. Wow, thank you guys all for such kind words. Really, really means who won. Dustin Poirier won. Dustin Poirier won a fight that he won a first round very dominantly. Now again, we can use you can use this this comparison. Michael Chandler won a round one a month ago exactly the same way, smashing his guy 10-9, 10-8, 10-8, and then the guy came back, landed one punch and won. So we don't know where that was going. But by the way, also Conor McGregor broke his leg in half in a fight that he badly lost the first round, and that was the end of that. It's going to be a tough road for him. It's going to be tough. We're all buzzed. Okay, this is probably the best. Kamenas Paukara, probably the comment of the night. Nick Diaz is a legend. Shevchenko versus Linus. Personally, I think Shevchenko won the second fight. I didn't think she won the second fight, Ivan, but Shevchenko won rounds. Shevchenko won minutes. Shevchenko won exchanges. Shevchenko can win 100%. Winning rounds, winning moments, winning exchanges, winning positions. That's how you win a fight. And she's done all that, right? I don't know. That could be McGregor Poirier. I'm not sure if that's what you're referencing, but the judges gave it 10-9, 10-8, 10-8. Do you think that as the sport further develops, the athlete's prime age will become younger? Great question, Timothy. Great question. So my guy Josh, that I work with in Karate Combat, sent me a clip of a 17-year-old badass. I think it was on the Third Coast grappling, just like wrecking people. 17-year-old. And I was looking at it and I started thinking about like how gymnasts are younger and younger. The issue is strategy and tactics, and those elements develop over time. So I don't know how you hack that, but the physical nature, yes, they will get younger and younger, better and better, younger and younger. Fun times. Two Diaz brothers smashing those two guys. And I'm not against the Paul brothers, but the Diaz brothers, I mean, those are the wrong guys. You do not want that. Well, Conor's got a broken in half leg, so there won't be anything. What's next is healing a broken in half leg. Yeah, Nick Diaz. I'm ready. No, he can't. He cannot be the same as he was. Can he gain something from the path that will replace whatever he loses from the path? If you can't train for a year and you're a professional elite athlete, there's a physical atrophy that happens, that will happen. As that happens, can there be a trade-off in what is learned, in what is how you change as a person? And it's possible, but who cares? And no, so subculture, I'm with you, I appreciate you, but this whole, and we see it a lot, people like, this guy needs to retire, this guy's done, whatever. If you look at failure as like the worst thing in the world, it's bad for you. Like, when we look at this, see, that guy failed, fuck him. It makes you hesitate to try. Something you got to get rid of. You got to jettison that. If you ever meet Robin on the street, he's the nicest guy. Thanks. Such a kind thing. Can he run after the surgery? No, not for months. Yeah, but he broke his leg in half. Like, I mean, it's just nothing like that. Nothing. This is a fucking bone break. Like, it's bad. It's a lot different. That's fair enough. But that's us. That's our judgment. That's not just, you can't go out. Bear with me. Walk out into the forest and bring me back a bucket of sportsmanship. Do you know what I mean? It just doesn't exist in nature. There is no such thing. It is interpreted through our experience, right? To whom? That's your interpretation, right? It's your interpretation. No. I mean, I don't think anyone should ever retire unless what they want to do is retire. Anyone who, and again, I don't want to be rude to you, my friend, J2, but when you look, it's like, this guy's ruining something, it's this bad. It's like, when you see people taking risks and failing, that can inspire you to realize taking risks is okay. They're going to keep surviving, being successful, wealthy, happy, having a family, learning. Excuse me. Failure is not, don't fear failure, embrace it. This is true. It's a very good point. It's very true. Very true. It is not 100% happening because the guy's got a leg broken in half, and it may never heal. Can he rise through this adversity? It's possible. Is there such a second wave of crime? Not usually. And it is, if it was hard to get from where he was to here, it's got to be 10 times harder to get from here through the atrophy of your athletic ability as you heal, to the healing of an injury, to the psychological healing, back to even here, never mind beyond. It's going to be hard. He could do it. Humans are capable of many things. I like the Legends fights, but it's going to be hard. Conor brought the sport to heights never be seen. Yeah. But it'll be seen. It'll go beyond. There's always more. Yeah, the crowd does roar when we see Chuck. Guys, it's so cool that we have so many people here, but I gotta go to bed soon. I really do. If you had never broke a bone, it's hard to comprehend how hard it is. Yeah, good point. Yeah, if he's healthy, that's the question. The second part, yeah, of course, but the first part is the big part. He may never be healthy again. Did Ryan Hall prove don't fight like that? Well, let's look at it this way. He fought like that 11 times, and 10 of them, it worked. So no. No. In fact, the opposite is true. 10 out of 11 is 91 or 92%. So, any winning 92% with anything is incredibly hard to do. So Ryan Hall proved in the body of his work that fighting like that is awesome and occasionally doesn't work. Poirier wins the belt and McGregor comes from this. I don't know. The ifs are hard. I don't know if Poirier wins the belt, and I don't know if McGregor comes back. Crowd was booing Aljo. Yeah, well, what? Everybody gets to do their life their way. So when you win a belt by disqualification, you can say, fuck you guys. I'm going to be the bad guy. And that can work. You can do that. Good on you. Or you can be like, yeah, well, we got to do this again. And, it was a weird one. And it's up to you. And how the audience responds to either is up to them. This is the world we live in, right? Can you share anything about your auditions, talks, etc. with UFC? Yeah. So I was hired by Dana directly to move to Los Angeles and do UFC Tonight and do all of their pre and post shows. None of that happened because what happens when you get hired by Dana is you get put into a package with some other people who have some other agendas, and it doesn't go anything like that. It's not Dana's fault. It's not the structure's fault. The other guys who you end up in there, they're like, we didn't hire this fucking guy. Now we have to. And so what do? They slow play you. And when they slow played me, where I'm sitting around not doing what I was hired to do, eventually I'm like, you know what? Fuck you guys. And then when you say fuck you guys, then you get what happens when you say fuck you guys, which is you're not doing it anymore. And that's basically how it happened. Dana says, you're hired. Introduce him to Lorenzo. We're going to move you and your wife to LA. You'll have a contract in 3 days. You're going to do all our pre and post shows. You're going to be on like I said, UFC Tonight. Welcome, welcome aboard. And 2 years later, you're like, I haven't even met my fucking boss, and he's, not giving me the time of day. What the fuck am I doing here? Fuck this. And when you say fuck this, people are like, fuck you. And so that's how it goes. Now, fortunately, you also can, at any point, you also can say, no problem, yes, sir, no, sir, that's okay, and stay in their structure. Now, and when you, in any structure, any business like that, any kind of corporate structure, you can say, okay, no problem, yes, just the right email, just the right yes, just the right, things to end up being part of the structure. But that's not me. I'd rather just be like, you know what, fuck that. I'll work for 12 other places that I enjoy working at. This ain't for me. I'm too, and that's how it went. And it worked out well for everybody. When a guy's 100 million in the bank, still goes out there and pours his heart out in front of the world and accepts one of the ultimate consequences of humiliation and defeat, I can respect that. Fucking great comment, man. Really, really, really well-informed comment. Yep. Thank you. It was bad. Well, he's not going to be training for like a year. So, thank you. Yeah, of course. He was in shock, yeah. How do you you got to think about it. Like, imagine if you just got fucking your leg broken. And so it's like, what do you think of, blah, blah, blah. You'd be like, fuck this. Or you'd be like, I just, really want to think, you would just not behave logically. You could do anything. No logical person would judge you for that. You're very welcome, my friend. I think no. Good night. Hey, thank you. I'm gonna say, gonna respond to these last few questions, and we're out. No idea. What about Pat at LFC? I don't know what that is. What do you think of the threat to finish it outside the octagon by Conor? Hey, man. What things that seem offside are the last things that are effective. So you can choose to use them. We can choose to judge it. I don't judge it because I know it's it's a game. I have no judgment on it, but we can choose to, and you can, for sure. I don't care what Khabib says. I don't care what Conor says. I didn't care what Muhammad Ali said. I don't care what Mike Tyson said. Mike Tyson wanted to eat someone's babies. I don't know if you ever saw that. It's like, I'll eat his children. It's like, dude, fucking chill. Eat his children. Like, Mike Tyson said that. I wasn't mad at him. It's, it is what it is. So Hector is, I'll put you down as undecided. Let me rephrase. BJJ is awesome. realistically viable for becoming a champ? I don't think the goal is to become a champ. That's television's story. That's like, it's like, this guy will be in the top 10. Now he's going to be like, he'll break into the whatever future title shot. That's all narrative based. These guys are martial artists making a living, doing what they love, growing and changing. They don't all want to be champions. So could you become a champion? And also, he didn't have zero intention of actually striking. He spin kicked the guy in the head, right? So that's not actually accurate. And he won 10 out of 11 fights, fighting exactly the same way. So, and he may win the next 5. And if he did, maybe he doesn't. Let's say he wins 3 of them, loses 2. He would have won 13 out of 16 fights, fighting exactly the same way. It's not wrong. It's his way. Can you still come around again? Huge asset to the product. I don't know what we're referencing there. I'm so sorry. Why are the pundits saying that Poirier beat McGregor twice? That's a win, Richard, because he beat him twice. A doctor stoppage is a win by the other guy. So that's why. Respect what? Hooking gloves and then disrespecting somebody's wife. Somebody respected a guy coming out and working his ass off and going for it when he doesn't need to. You don't have to respect it, but he certainly can. Time for all Notorious to go take a year with his wife and kids. Yeah. And then it'll be tough to come back. Better get knocked out cold than lose by a freak accident. It's all bad. It's not hate and irrationality. If you are a fan of someone and they dislike them, you're not right and they're not wrong. If you think Trump is the greatest and they think Trump's the devil, you are not right and they are not wrong. We spend a lot of time being sure that the other people have been misled, but we're all misled. We're all gathering the information that we have and doing the best we can with it. We are not better than the other guy. If you hate Conor McGregor and if you love Conor McGregor, Richard Finley, and you see them as irrational, and they hate Conor McGregor and they see you as irrational, who's right? We're just different, right? He didn't embarrass himself. No one embarrasses themselves. If something is embarrassing, that is not innate. If you shit your pants, you did not embarrass yourself. You shit your pants. If I find it embarrassing, I perceive embarrassment for you through my perspective. If you see Conor and you say, that's embarrassing, that's you. It's not him. What he did is just what he did. It has no judgment innately. It's not good or bad. It's what you saw. Only that assigns good or bad. But yeah, I agree. They didn't have to. He was talking shit on the man's wife, yeah. And you can judge that. But innately, using that, what's off limits? What's off limits today will be fine in a year. What's fine in a year will be off limits a year later. What is all, there's shit that we don't even understand about the world that we will say about somebody else 10 years in the future. It's just words. Nothing's off limits and everything's off limits, as it is through our own perspective. We look and go, dude, don't ever talk about a man's wife. Somebody else is like, dude, don't ever talk about a man's stomach. Dude, don't ever talk about a man's hair. Like, it's all up to us, right? I don't think he should talk about another man's wife, but I'm just a person. I'm an observer. It's not my business, right? My opinion is irrelevant. It's simply mine. Do I think he should talk about Khabib's religion or Dustin's wife? No, but that's simply the opinion of one man. My opinion is not relevant. It's not important. It's simply my opinion because there's 1,000 of us and we have 1,000 opinions. Which one's important? None of them. They're only important to us. I don't know. Tony will probably make a comeback. Did Dustin check the kick and actually fracture his bone? No, I don't think so. I think that last kick, he stood up, threw a kick, and within 10 seconds stepped on it. I think it was his last kick, and you don't have to check it. You literally just, Uriah Hall didn't check Chris Weidman's kick. Chris kicked it and hit the bone. It's not a, who canceled who? And why? We, the humans, decide how to react to things. There's not like some system. If you did something and a lot of people hate it, they're going to be like, we don't like you. I don't know what to say about that. I like Pat, but if other people found some behavior of his to be really bad, then I don't know what to say about it. Yeah, but he's complicated, right? People are complicated. Conor tried this and did that, used to be this way. We're complicated. We're affected by our own emotions. We're affected by the world around us. We're scared. We're happy. We're mad. We're frightened. We're disturbed. We're anxious. Like, we're people. He could have been, but he wasn't, because he's a person. He's a person trying to live his life as best he can. And under the stresses of the world. He's not a cartoon character. Would be a huge asset to their product. Thank you. I don't think I'm a good fit for them. They're certainly not a good fit for me. Okay, guys, I gotta go. Also, I have to whiz, so that's going to be enough reason to say goodbye. A lot of people are finding out what most Irish people already know. McGregor's a dirtbag. Okay, well, there you go. He'll kick the shit out of Poirier after this. I mean, did they use some kind of secret drug that has a side effect? No, when you smash a bone against another bone, it breaks. Yeah. Why don't they do it in fucking Thai boxing? Because they fucking went through this hundreds of years ago. They're like, holy fuck, that's way too risky. We got to stop doing it. MMA and its infinite wisdom, it's like, we're just going to smash everybody's calf. It just doesn't work. This guy's still here? Can you imagine? This guy was like, I'm out of here. And he's still here. What the fuck's wrong with him? Do not waste your time on shit you hate. You crazy people. Thing that I took from the fight the most, Conor still has the major halls. Not true. Name. Thank you. Thank you for being, when you say big fan. But no, that's not a hole. When somebody's amazing and you're like a 9 out of 10 and they're an 11, or you're an 8 out of 10, it's not a hole. Dustin fucking smashed him up. Like, that's not a knock. Like, just because you do something good doesn't mean I'm bad at it. It means you're great at it sometimes. Anyways, I gotta go because I really have to wee. And yes, I said wee. I had 2.5 very large cans of fluid. So I appreciate you guys immensely. It's been a real, true pleasure to hang out with you. But I gotta take a piss. So please share this. And if you want to buy a t-shirt that says Bink or Hot Lava or Enjoy the Hostilities, it's at shoprobinblack.com. While I'm taking a whiz, I'll be on Twitter and Instagram at Robin Black Martial Arts on Instagram and at Robin Black MMA on Twitter. Until next time, enjoy the hostilities, my friends. Black out.